Alright guys, this is where we are at with removing the headliner so far. We busted out the, what is this, the B pillar, X pillar. We popped these out. These were 2 bolts. There's 2 of these. You loosen them up. That's from the handlebar. You want to unplug this. The next thing you're going to want to do is pop off the sun visor with the noodle. Just pop this out. There's another bolt right up in there. You want to pop that out. And then on the opposite side, there's that little plate thing that you need to pry off with a flat head. Pretty easy to pry off, and then you'll expose another bolt, and the front of the headliner should be good to come off. Oh yeah, I still have to remove this. There you go. That's it. Slide this up forward, and then there's the other bolt. So as of now, the front of the headliner seems loose. We'll have to investigate a little bit further as we get to it because I haven't gotten this far. And then we're going to go to the back and remove the, I don't know, the D pillar and the Z pillar, which should be the same method as popping out these 2 tabs, and then there'll be some bolts that need to be removed, and hopefully that should take these trims off. Okay, so we pulled off a little bit of the weather stripping here, and that allowed us to kind of get this a bit loose. Upon further investigation, you do need to take out the handle, and once you have that removed, you also need to pull down the weather stripping from the rear door. Once that's out, then I'm assuming you just need to pry this bit out, or I might just break something. So you also need to remove the passenger side weather stripping. There you go. Probably good enough to get the thing out, maybe. There you go. That thing, you have to pop off the bottom tab and you'll expose one of the Torx screws. It's a really tiny one. And then look at that, majority of the headliner is pretty loose. We finally got majority of it loose. The only bit left is removing the back. So we ran into a bit of an issue with the headliner so far. We got it out. That's a plus. We got it out of place. The only downside is it's pretty tightly packed in there. Going over things, we might have to fold in the headliner just a bit, and there's a chance that it could break, but that's a risk I'm willing to take.
3:28 a.m.
We finally got the headliner out. We had to crease it going through that back door. We had to fold up the seats all the way to the front, and obviously in the upright position, as upright as they can be. And we pretty much just forced it out of that back door. So here it is. This is our next project. It's LED fiber optic lights by Chinli, made by our industrious friends over in China. Now let's quickly take a look inside the box. Oh yes, a gold box. I got a golden ticket.
I've got a golden ticket.
Alright, so here's a look at what's inside the box. We have the AC/DC adapter, which we're obviously not going to use because this is going inside of a vehicle. Then we actually have the LED light engine itself. Now I opted out for the twinkle option because that's the only way you gotta go. Then we do have this Bluetooth remote control. Well, actually the unit itself is Bluetooth, but we do have this remote control. Quite a few options. RGBW, different colors. You can do the intensity. Well, I'll show you when it's plugged in. They were generous enough to give us some drilling bits, which is pretty cool, and then they actually put down the sizes of each one. So it's perfect for the fiber optics. Then we have the actual fiber optic strands themselves. Now this is 550 pieces because, it's a big headliner. Last I checked, this was probably 13 feet. And then we also have the cigarette lighter thing right here to plug in for that. That's kind of the main issue here, is trying to figure out how I'm going to wire this sucker into the truck. That's later down the road. Let's go ahead and plug everything in so I can show you all the cool features I got. Now the fiber optics are already connected to this bit over here that unifies them, and then you plug this into there and tighten it with this screw and you should be good. Now we have the remote here. We'll go ahead and turn it on, and look at that. Now that is 550 pieces. I hope I don't have to drill 550 holes. With this we can control the colors, all sorts of variations, and then we can control the twinkling speed, motor speed. We'll increase the speed in that. We could also take down the intensity, or we could raise the intensity. Pretty cool, but I think for the most part we'll probably keep it on white for the twinkling effect. Look at that twinkling. Look at that twinkling. So here is the headliner out. Now remember, I have a F-150 XL, which means I literally have nothing except for map light, Bluetooth microphone, and my dome light. That's it. Funny thing is, all this stuff routes over to this plug out in the back corner behind the seats, the back seats I should say. Now when you get to the back part, you're going to have this one and this one over here in the way. With those, all I did was just force it out, and eventually you get it. Look at this, guys. You can barely see any of the creases. There actually aren't any creases, which is funny because we had to fold the hell out of this thing to fit it out the back door. My original plan was to redo the headliner completely, as in redo the fabric, Alcantara, suede, fake suede, something along those lines, since I have the headliner out. Plus, I wanted to redo it in a black color because, you know, it's going to be a starry night. It needs to be a black sky. But looking around, a lot of the fabric stores, the standard width for the fabrics isn't enough to cover it, because the XL is such a stupid, dumb, long headliner for a super crew cab. It's not really going to work unless I like look around or special order or something like that. So the next best thing is just to spray paint the headliner, which I know is not really, you know, good enough to do if I'm going through all this work. It makes sense to add in some fabric, maybe Alcantara or whatever, but can't find it for this length, guys. That's probably the most hesitant part I am about this, because I have no idea how painted fabric is going to come out, guys, but it needs to be done. So we are in day 2 in this headliner project that we are doing. As of now, the headliner has been completely painted and transformed from gray all the way to a nice flat black. Now I was slightly worried with paint because I didn't know if it was going to come out cheaply or, you know, look terrible, but overall it's actually pretty good. Maybe a slight downside is that the paint kind of made the fibers on the headliner a little bit stiffer, so it does have a little bit of a rougher texture than it did before, just a little bit. But again, who's touching the headliner? Well, folks, as you can see, we still do not have the headliner on the truck. So like I said, guys, I want to have the fiber optics routed through here, mainly because there's already a plug in there, so I figured there's probably a decent amount of space behind there. Run the fibers behind this trim piece right down there. I'll probably have to do a cutout or something to have the thickness of that fiber optics through there, and then somewhere along here mount the motor. Right behind here, which by the way, I just learned this truck has a toolkit. Now I know all vehicles are supposed to come with one, but I didn't know it was behind this seat. Well guys, the headliner has been, it's being held on right now. It's not properly attached, but it's being held on right now by a few of the pillars. It was a pain in the butt, guys, I will not lie. You're gonna end up creasing the thing, guys. You do have like very faint lines of it, because we creased the hell out of it. I wish I recorded it, guys, but I was just tunnel vision on getting this thing in there. I apologize. It's an XL truck, guys. It's a work truck. Had this been like a Platinum or an XLT, then, you know, maybe I'll feel a little bad. I probably wouldn't want to do it. But it's an XL. It's a cloth, basic headliner. This is it. I still need to drill the 1.5 inch hole so I could feed the fibers right there. Feed the fibers through there, and then have the motor mounted right here. So we have the Starlight headliner installed on the 2018 F-150, and it looks absolutely stunning on the truck. Beautiful. And this is daytime, guys. Imagine nighttime. It's gonna look absolutely stunning. I mean, just look at that. It's beautiful, guys. Well, guys, the headliner has been installed. The Starlight right above me is absolutely gorgeous, guys. It is beautiful, especially in the dark. Peep that, guys. Look at that. Look at that. Ultimately, guys, I am pleased with the final result. Now, I know it was a super long process, and you do need a lot of patience, and a second pair of hands is super useful, so be sure you have that as well if you're planning to tackle this project, guys. Hopefully, if you do this, you're not doing it on a Super Crew Cab. Those of you who own the Super Crew Cab, you know how gigantic the cabin is and how huge the headliner is. It's rough. For a first-time job, we did a pretty big headliner. I should have done this on the Subaru. But a few things before I go, guys. One, I think we got the perfect amount of stars. I was worried at first that we were going to put a bunch and it was going to look like a disco ball club. But I think we hit the sweet spot with the amount of stars above me on the headliner. So the second thing, guys, is the wiring for the box. We are using the 12-volt cigarette, or what is this, the input in the back over here. Now, I did have to modify the cable here. You will see it earlier. I had to cut into the wall mount one. So remember how the box came with a wall mount version and the car input one? I cut up the wall mount one and used that wire to extend the car cigarette one, not cigarette, but the 12-volt input. It reaches and we have more than enough, so I'm going to have to tuck this wire in somewhere. But again, this is temporary. Obviously, the correct way is to route it to your fuse box, tap into a 12-volt accessory switch or something like that. But I'm not going to go through all that, guys. Doing this headliner was painful enough. I don't want to worry about electronics, so I kind of just went for the temporary route. In the meantime, guys, don't judge me. That's pretty much it, guys. If you're planning on doing this project, especially for your Super Crew F-150, one, good luck, and two, make sure you go for like 350 to maybe 450 fibers. Don't go for 550, guys. That is just way too much. Unless you want to go for the disco ball look. If you want to go for that club look, then yeah, by all means, put all 550. But I put roughly around maybe 400, 430. Around there, and I think personally for my taste, guys, is just the right amount. And then obviously have a second pair of hands, guys. It's gonna make your life so much easier, especially removing with the headliner. That was no fun, but like I said, guys, when you're removing this sucker, you just force it out the door. Sure, you might see some creases while you're doing it, but the thing goes back to its shape. It reforms back to its shape, guys, so don't worry too much about the headliner. I may not have shown you guys, but behind this, a million strands of hell, guys. It's just, I tried to organize it, and ultimately it was a lost cause. There's no way anyone could detangle that because it was a tangled mess, guys. So that's my lessons for you in case you're planning on doing this. Each one you do individually up here. Make sure you glue them right away and then try to separate them. Sort of separate it and organize it into, like, I guess, quadrants maybe, to make it a little bit more simpler for you guys. I didn't really do that. I kind of just went for it and just, you know, you guys saw my technique. That is it. If you have any questions or anything at all, guys, leave them down in the comments. Other than that, I hope you all enjoyed. Super happy with how this thing came out, guys. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. So worth it. 4 days of your time and a lot of patience, and I don't know, 12-pack can also be your friend too. Hope you all enjoyed, guys. Peace and take care.